Okay, today is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. This is a meeting of the Cape Cod Gateway Airport Commission, and we are meeting in the airport conference room. And I want to call this meeting to order. Let everyone know that the commission meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20, I must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. Not seeing anybody, we can move right into roll call.
Chairman Flores,
I am here.
Vice Chairman Gio is not present. Clerk Weil,
Here.
Commissioner Beerworth. Here. Commissioner Bailey,
Here.
Commissioner DeGeorge,
Here.
Commissioner Melo. Here. Yarmouth Rep. Christine Greeley.
Here.
We have a quorum this afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. Next on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first item on the agenda will be the minutes of the previous meetings on March 27th and April 9th. Could I first have a motion to approve the minutes of March 27th? Someone make that, please.
Second.
Okay, motions are made and seconded. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes of the 27th? Any additions, deletions, corrections? Not hearing any, I will call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. We will move on to the April 9th minutes. Does someone make a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, corrections, additions, deletions? Not seeing or hearing any. Let's call this vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Number 5 on the agenda is public comment. Anyone from the public who would like to make a comment? Not seeing or hearing anybody. There's no need for number 6, which is our response to public comment. We'll move right into a report from the Finance Subcommittee. Commissioner Weil.
Okay. The Finance Subcommittee got 2 sets of notes here, and I'm going to work off of both of them. One was provided in great detail and small print. We met on Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Meeting was called to order at 8:38. Commissioners Weil, Bailey, and Geode were present. Members of the public, Eric Rudy was here, Brian Massey, Eric Rudy from Aloft Aviation, Brian Massey from HRP, and Betty Lutke representing the town. There was old business, was none. We had FIN 0325-6 update the cost of the temporary post-security tent installation to accommodate increased passenger activity. We were just given a discussion of that, and I know it'll be discussed at this meeting. We also discussed as new business FIN 052501, which was to discuss the hard stand status. That will be discussed at this meeting. We had 2 items related to HRP Associates, FIN 052502 and FIN 052503. Both of those items were tabled as they had not been completed with the legal work on it. We moved on to FIN 052504 to discuss the INS Air Service lease negotiation proposal. It was provided for discussion purposes only. It's being discussed at this time. Again, we discussed an FIN 052505. The expired leases between both TSA and JetBlue. Those things are items that are ongoing right now. They were presented so that we were kept up to date on the status of those things. We moved on to FIN 52506 to discuss the expired contracts of the rental companies. Again, that was discussed to bring us up to date. And then we discussed in FIN 052507, discuss and review the contract between the Vector Airport System LLC. It was expiring. We discussed that. It will be presented at a future meeting. FIN 052508, Aloft Aviation request to become an FBO. There were some issues that were brought to date about their desire to become a full FBO and some things that hadn't been accomplished that Eric Ruby was hoping we would take action on. We were not aware of the delays that had been going on, and I know it's been in process and some progress has been made. Again, a number of items were discussed at this meeting where Manager Nelson was bringing us up to date in the status of everything that he had under his belt and wanted to make sure we were informed. We had updates which will be covered at this meeting again, and the meeting was adjourned at 9:36.
Thank you, Commissioner Lau. Any questions for Commissioner Lau? I'm not hearing any. We'll move right into report of the Infrastructure and Marketing Committee. Commissioner DeGeorge, would you report on that, please?
Yes, the Infrastructure and Marketing Subcommittee met on Tuesday, May 6th at 10:30 in the morning. Commissioners DeGeorge, Melu were present. The meeting was held via Zoom. There was no unfinished business. New business, rather than be repetitive, was exactly what Norm has said, and I want to thank him for that. But the only difference was that the HR associates, the on-call engineering, the Infrastructure and Marketing Committee approved to go to Finance and full commission at a later date. Other than that, everything that Norm had said concerning the expired leases and contracts, Mike gave us a good update as to what was going on with those. And later on this evening, he'll give us updates on American Airlines and all the things coming up this summer. Having no other business, the meeting was adjourned at 11 a.m.
Thank you, Commissioner DeGeorge. Any questions for you? Okay, not hearing any. Next item is the public session, which begins to take a look at item number 8, which is old business. This is COM 0525-1. This is relative to the terminal seasonal structure post-security tent installation upgrade. Discussion to ensue. Will someone please make that motion? Norm?
Yes. I'm just getting ready to.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
525-1.
Yeah, the motion is to approve the upgrades to this structure to enhance the aesthetics of the interior and exterior, improve customer experience with the addition of amenities, and ensure the infrastructure can accommodate the planned amenities. The sponsor is the commission and it may be acted upon at this meeting.
Do I have a second, please?
Seconded.
Okay, the item, motion's been made, it's been seconded, and we would look to Manager Nelson to give us an update and any discussion forthwith.
Well, thank you for letting me bring this to the commission tonight for action. So, hard to see from this angle.
Much better. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the tent structure, as you see it out there, is what was planned and agreed to. And so we have bought a windowless portable shelter. And it was completed last Thursday, for the most part. The fencing still has to go and everything else. The items yet to be completed, chain link and wooden fencing. The electrical for the HVAC, that is almost substantially complete. They just have to run the wires to the HVAC units, which will be started next week. PA system, security camera, power washing of the interior and exterior, project cleanup, and what we're here for tonight, customer enhancements. As of today, this is what we have. This is the structure. Fortunately, we do have some time, not a lot of time, for our first flight, June 19th. So we're looking at a little over 3.5 to 4 weeks. Thing about the structure that's been really positive is all of TSA, local TSA agents and the security people have come through the airport since the tent was erected, and they are all raving about it. It is a model for everybody else, and they actually went to Martha's Vineyard to speak to this tent concerning what Martha's Vineyard wants to do. We do still have a ways to go. So the fence panels, 6 foot high, so from the street when you're driving by, you really won't have access to see anything that's below the pavement line, the sidewalk line. And from the inside, if we were to put windows on it, your view is going to be mostly skyline from the southwest to the northwest in that area. But, so this is what we're proposing, or I'm proposing tonight, is instead of just having this, we would provide windows on this side, and that's the sun side from probably 11 a.m. right till dusk. So we'll be able to accommodate some natural light into the building. Right now, there's very little light, with the exception of the doors on each end. 4 windows and no light. And as you walk from the terminal building, this is what you see now. So you'd be coming from the TSA secure area that we presently have into the tent. And here are the 2 proposals. So we would have a window wall, which Sunbelt Rentals, the installer of the tent, provides, at additional cost, of course. And then the optional windows that I showed in the previous slide. The biggest difference is the cost of these windows is high. Just straightforward, very high.
What's high?
High is if we were to put one section here and place it where these windows are, delivery cost is approximately $7,500. And then the window wall itself is, depending on how many window walls we get, the more we get, the better the pricing. If we were to procure an entire 3 sections of window walls to place around various parts of the tent, we would be running into about $21,500, and as high if we got up to 6, up to $41,000. It's
Versus the windows on the top?
versus these windows on the top, where this level right here is approximately 5 feet to the bottom of the window. So the only concern there is if you're looking for a view, if you're not taller than 5'3", 5'4", you'd be looking at the terminal building, pretty much. But cost-wise and timing-wise, would be more comfortable, definitely. The windows on the right probably have a lead time of approximately 2 weeks, so we'd have a little cushion to be able to install. Sunbelt Rentals is not sure yet. It's been, I'm into day 3 talking to them, and they're still not sure when they can get their crew here. It's a specialized crew. It's not one of their usual installers.
So the window wall would be looking towards the parking lot, looking towards the.
And this is what the view would be on the window wall on the door side. So that's the northwest side of the tent facing the structure. So if you were to look out the window wall, or if you're tall enough to look out one of those smaller windows, that's what you'd be seeing. The fence here would be the wood fence you'd be looking at, so you wouldn't really see over here. But you would be able to see people coming in and out, and this would be the picnic table area, where you'd see 1 or 2 picnic tables or more, depending on where you are in the tent and where we place the picnic tables. So inside the tent, right now, we have the 4 walls, folding chairs, no natural light, no Wi-Fi, no charging stations, no TV, no vending machines. They're pretty much going to be in a hangar waiting in their security hold to see what's going to happen, just hanging out. Possibilities for the customer experience: we can introduce with the windows natural daylight from the southwestern to northern exposure, Wi-Fi for all their devices, charging stations to keep all those devices powered, TV for optional media, and vending machines for an assortment of snacks, water. So we even mentioned bringing in some healthy snacks, protein bars, things like that. I was in there a little while ago just testing signals on my phone. I had 3 to 4 bars depending on when I was in the tent, both Verizon service. And my concern would be with service without Wi-Fi in there is during the summer. Of course, there's increased population in and around Hyannis, so I'm not sure what the bandwidth is in this area at that time of the year. The traffic going around the Rotary and however many people are using Wi-Fi, or not Wi-Fi, but cellular in the tent. The benefits: customer enhancement, reducing pre-security crowding in the terminal. And then on a side note there, TSA agents I was talking to, they were commenting that their concern is that we don't have a lot of electrical outlets in the terminal anywhere, and it's the same for TSA. So people that have been screened walking from the holding area in the tent, going back into the terminal for a myriad of different things, not just power, but sometimes out of just boredom, they just tend to wander also. Equipment will be used in subsequent years. So if we make this purchase of having an electrician, wire, all these outlets, power for vending machines, power for routers for the Wi-Fi, and whatever accessories, charging stations, those aren't things that go away. So we would not have to be, it wouldn't be a recurring expense on us. The expenses are one time for that, and anything we buy, charging stations, the routers, we just have to find a place to store them without them getting harmed. So it would be upgrades depending on how long we're going to have this temporary holding area for. Increase in vending machines. The vending machines would be no cost to us, so we would incur some revenue from the vending machines out there. And the new vendor, at this time, they can monitor what's selling, what's not remotely. So they would be responsive to coming in and filling when we need, things like that. And they've also, in the main terminal, they've updated all the credit card readers in the terminal, so they're hopefully a lot more reliable than they've been in the past. So he's working with us to help in this effort too.
So once someone goes through TSA security, they would go into this tent,
Yeah,
which now means they don't have access to our little cafeteria here, correct?
Correct. So talking to Sue, who's been talking to Island Air will stay, Island Cafe, I'm sorry, will stay beyond, after hours if necessary, if there's delays, things like that. and be able to service them. I understand they have an app, so customers would be able to order on the app inside the holding area. And TSA has said, yes, as long as it's not liquids, they can go back and forth with food to deliver into the tent, into the regular holding area that is present now.
Is there access to liquid once you're in the tent?
The vending machines would be
Strictly through the
there.
vending machines?
Yes. Yes.
How long do we typically think people would be in this holding area?
Hopefully, with no delays, things like that, I would say airlines say 1 hour before your flight. Personally, I like the hour and a half to 2 hours. I'd rather linger at the airport, not worry about traffic or anything like that. But you could have flight delays, weather-related, in this day and age, unfortunately, air traffic delays, which could cause delays upwards of over an hour and a half, 2 hours at times. So people might have to wait out for over 2 hours in this facility.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mike, I got a couple of questions.
Yes.
You talked about natural lighting with the windows. What type of lighting are we going to have in the ceilings?
Right now, there's construction lighting in the ceiling, or I call it construction lighting, but there's on every rafter, there's a light on each side as you walk in. So when you're walking down towards the end to end, you'll have 2 lights. Right now, there's 2 powered up, and they provide very good lighting. So it's not daylight, but it's more than adequate.
Okay. Second question, you talked about the full window section.
Yes.
Do we put one window section on one side of the building and one on another?
We can put them anywhere we want.
Just so that you have some other light. I mean, you're gonna have some dark spots in there, and you really don't wanna have that. You wanna make it so that it's pleasurable. So if you had some light coming in from a different direction, it would kinda make it a little bit easier on the eyes.
Yes. So the window walls definitely give you a lot more daylight. And the smaller windows, they're 21 by 15 or 25 by like 16. So we're not getting a lot of light. I mean, we can buy a whole row of them, and it's no different than a garage. When you walk through your garage and you have the piano style lighting or whatever side lights and lights you put in there. So
Are there any sections on the side of the airport where you have the AC units now, the HVAC units? I saw them, I walked out there this afternoon.
yes.
Are there any walls or sections there that we can put any windows in, or?
We can put them wherever we want, and we've been debating, it's funny, because I like to get opinions of a lot of people. And so originally on one of the options I sent to Sunbelt Rentals, I had said, because I'm an airport guy, air traffic guy, I love looking at planes. So
Yeah.
then there was the discussion and debate, well, if we put them on that side, you're looking at the generator, you're looking at the HVAC units, they're big units out there. And you don't get that much of the airport for a view. So it's more of a, and I didn't take any pictures, I'm sorry for the presentation on that, where you'd see your view. It's about, probably about 200, or I'm sorry, about 2,000 feet of runway 6 you would see, middle of runway 6 towards the Route 28 side of the airport. So it all depends on what we want. My concern is them obtaining delivery of those items in a timely manner where we're going to get the fullest usage out of them. They could come here and say, we're gonna deliver June 15th, and it rains for 3 or 4 days. They cannot put these up when it's raining, inclement, something like that. So they could be pushing into late June, early July before we get delivery. I still don't have confirmation on when they can get a crew here.
You're talking the full windows?
The full
versus
windows, the window walls.
the window walls.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Any
now,
other questions?
how long do we have this, we expect this
June
additional
19th?
shelter to be for how long?
We're gonna have usage through Labor Day. So we're talking about pretty much the entire summer, once June 19th through September, I forget when Labor Day is, about September 3rd, 4th, somewhere in that area.
So for 3 months?
Yes.
And we can have a combination of both. We can have the side lights at the top coupled with the window walls, correct?
Yes.
And the window, and the side lights they can put in immediately. The window walls
Within a
would have to
couple,
be
I'm gonna say by June 13th, we should be able to,
Okay.
June 14th.
Okay. Any other questions, issues? Okay, I might suggest that we move forward with putting in the window wall so that we know we have some light in there, coupled with, as Commissioner DeGiorgio suggested, a couple of wall panels.
Okay.
And as far as outlets and, are we talking outlets in the tent or outlets in the terminal?
Outlets in the tent,
In the tent itself?
yes.
So that tent is gonna be up all winter?
No, the tent comes down at the end of the season. And my thought going forward though, with the charging stations, I've been walking the terminal in the perspective of what do I think of Cape Cod Gateway Airport Terminal as a customer, and what's my experience going through here? So if we had, say, 3 charging stations in this temporary structure, I would ask the board, the commission, to move them into locations in the terminal so that during the off-season, customers would have access to those, so they'd be used throughout the year.
So Mike, would it be like a kiosk or a high table where you could put your electronics on it?
The
charge
goal
it?
is, if you've been in the Island Cafe, they have one that's approximately, let's say 6 feet long, and has 4 seats at it, and there's a charging station in front of each seat. So it's like a bar table height.
Yep, okay.
With bar stools there, and the customers look out. It's a parking lot view, but it's okay.
So do we have a complete budget that would take a look at the side lights coupled with a couple of wall panels, coupled with electrical? Because this is gonna be an increased cost, which is
Yes, so
a critical issue for the board.
originally, the cost was $41,700, right in there. The electrical, that's my estimate. I still don't have a hard number yet. I'm confident that the electrician will be. All the other numbers are based on estimates from contractors or vendors.
So the $41,700 or the $23,500, the difference is the window wall.
Yes.
From a budgetary perspective, Commissioner Weil, questions, concerns?
I'm concerned with the whole expense. I would, you know, if it were me, I would limit the number of window walls. I would want something to get increased lighting there, because I went out and looked, and where it is now, it's a dark pit. So I understand there'd be some ceiling lighting.
So the $23,500 includes how many window lights?
That pretty much we can cover, as one of the slides showed, an
One
entire side just about.
whole side.
Yeah, but that's labor intensive, because we're cutting out panels, and just so in full disclosure, we cut a panel, we buy it. So each panel costs $500, which is reflected in these prices.
So when the tent is removed in September, what happens to those window walls? We own them?
We store them, we own them,
We own, and then we could bring it back next summer and
Yes.
pop those in.
yes.
So this would be a long-term solution, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay.
So that changes my opinion some, because it gets capitalized.
Right.
And if you
Other issues
wanted,
of concern from anybody? I'm just trying to think of, we do want the customer to have a good experience, a good memory. I haven't been inside. I'd like to go in after this meeting. Anybody else would want to join us?
great,
I did drive by and I said, wow, is that what we bought? It's ugly. I was really surprised. I wish,
Yeah.
I was told it was something different until I saw it.
yeah.
So I was not pleased at all, to be quite frank. But the fact of the matter is, time is of the essence, and we have to make good of what is really an unfortunate situation. So the 23.5 is a Is it a solid estimate or just a guesstimate?
Outside of the cost of the electrician, which even if the electrician went high, there's no way in my experience he's going over $10,000. And right now, we would be using the line item of buildings is $76,000 left in that line item for this year. I don't want to spend the money, but trying to balance it with customer experience and prudence.
Can we justify it with JetBlue and American landing fees?
I believe so. It's and the American landing fees is another issue for June.
Okay.
So
That's an issue too?
it's not an issue. They just they asked a question because they're introducing 2 new routes into the system. So
Right,
do they
up
get
to
discounted
Philadelphia
for
and up to
those?
Chicago?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what I said to Joe when we looked at the facility is one way we have to kind of look at this is, because I mean, I knew it was going to be a big number, and I think the whole number for a tent is astounding to me, but I've rented tents before from my own home, and I know what the issues are, so I'm not surprised at the number. But we're trying to grow an airport and increase commercial activity and provide an experience that's good for the people who come here, and also to show the airlines that we're serious about what we're doing here, to encourage them to want to do business with us. So, you know, the initial sticker shock, I think, needs to be considered over a longer term. That's part of our effort.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because I don't want someone coming in from LaGuardia or JFK or coming in from DCA and coming here and thinking they're in a third world country, which we've all probably traveled to. We've been to airports, you know, probably different parts of the world. You say, where am I?
They've just upgraded LaGuardia, which was a mess.
For years it
This
was.
looks nothing like LaGuardia when they get off the airplane, so.
So my point being is that I'm concerned that this was not dealt with up front when we went through this process. I want to go on the record of saying that. I mean, it's caught me by surprise, and I don't like surprises. But nonetheless, it's something we have to deal with. So I would entertain a motion to move forward with putting in the panels, getting a solid budget, if you will, in front of us ASAP. We can
Yes.
even have a special meeting, but what I don't want to do is hinder the action to take place. So I would entertain a motion to move this forward.
So moved.
I need a motion.
Oh, sorry. Motion to accept the new plan of the window wall and piano windows to bring in more light to the tent.
Do we want to put a number on it, not to exceed? Because we're at 23.5 plus the electrical.
Well, is it 23.5 or 41.7?
41.7.
41.7.
Well, 41.7 is the window wall, 23.5 is just the panel lights on the top.
Oh, no.
But I thought we were gonna do at least one wall.
23,500 would be piano window
Piano
type.
lights, is that what we're
Yes,
calling it?
But
Okay.
including the other items as well, information
Yes.
technology.
Correct.
The enhancements,
Yeah,
the motion should include the enhancements also.
yeah.
I'm sorry, didn't you-
The motion should also include the enhancements, not just the window wall.
right, the 23, I want to make sure we're clear on this. The $23,500
is for
is for everything listed there.
piano windows,
Okay.
IT, electrical, charging stations.
Okay, everything except the window walls.
Yes.
Okay. Could I ask to amend the motion just so that we can vote that for an amount of 23,500? And that way there, we at least know we're getting the piano walls, then let's get a real true budget of what it would be to add the window walls, and we can have a special meeting to approve that, if that's okay with you?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to approve the increased cost not to exceed $23,500, which includes window delivery and installation, information technology, electrical installation for enhancements, and of course, charging stations. And That's in the form of a motion, so is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
I would just like to point out that the reason we're doing this at the meeting is that we agreed after discussion to try to expedite it because of
Time is of the
time.
essence,
You know,
yeah.
we're not comfortable in acting the way we're acting.
You know, time is of the essence. We have a flight coming in on June 19th, so this is something that needs to be addressed immediately. So with that being said, we're voting on that, and all those in favor, we're not recognizing this is a commission meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, okay. So, Manager Nelson, you're going to put in place the window panels, the ones on the side of the unit,
Yes.
coupled with all of the other events, and then we'll get a specific pricing for window walls.
Yes.
Okay, and if need be, we can come back we can have a quick Zoom meeting to discuss that.
Just a quick question. Where do you want the window panels, on both sides?
That's to be discussed. Betty, you had your hand up?
No,
I
I
wanna
thought you
get
said
through
you
the
weren't
motion.
recognizing me.
No, I wouldn't now, I was through the motion.
Oh, no, I just wanted to make a comment for something that Mike said at the beginning of this. When he said TSA was looking this as a model and was going over to Martha's Vineyard. I'm concerned what the precedent you're setting for Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. Now, I'm ignorant, I don't know what their tents look like, if they have tents. But this is quite a serious thing, if this is truly what you said, a model that is gonna be imposed on Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. That's my only comment. I'm a little concerned if that's accurate.
No,
So
it's not.
TSA will use this as a
I
model.
use the word model, yes, but TSA has requirements, and if you as an airport are following their requirements, then they could have just pitch a regular tent out there or no tent at all, as long as they have the secure fencing and all of those TSA requirements. Now, TSA, just like these customer enhancements that I proposed this evening, we don't have to have these. We can just have the four walls and call it a day. And the customers would say, this is not a great experience, or we can do the best we can and have an actual terminal out there and say, wow, this is the model everyone should be following. So TSA is not going out to the island and saying, you have to do what Cape Cod Gateway Airport is.
Okay, that was my concern. It came across that way, but maybe my misunderstanding, but I hope that's good then, if they have some leeway
Oh,
to
yes.
solve their solutions in their own way.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That was it. Thank you, John.
But we had a motion on the floor. I wanna go
No, I
to the vote.
understand.
No, thank you for the question.
Okay. All right, so that has been moved forward.
Yes.
We'll make sure that happens ASAP
Yes.
and get back to us as soon as you can.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, what else do we have? Number 9, there is no new business today, so we have item number 10, which is a report of the Yarmouth representative. Any comments?
You know, as always, town administrator, town of Yarmouth can continue to be concerned about really addressing PFAS issues. And given that they had a recent report done by Kleinfelder that showed clearly the plumes following down from 1533 to Yarmouth. And so really keeping this really high on the agenda, and the concerns remain with them and being updated. And then the second thing is the whole issue of the flight track work and study and things that are supposed to be going. Because the last time we heard that there was a consultant being looked at and everything, but I haven't heard any more progress in terms of what that's going to happen, because including the consultant from Yarmouth, Ron Price, you know, certainly want to be in those discussions, things like that. So getting that information out to the public and taking a look at it, particularly as the summer season begins, you know, there's going to be considerably more air traffic and concerns on the part of the town of Yarmouth for those
Well,
issues.
those are points well taken.
Okay, thank you.
Manager Nelson, just regarding the PFAS related issues, you're on top of that.
That's right.
Yes.
And as far as looking at flight tracking, and
That's right.
that's something we've discussed
Thank
at length at a number of different meetings. Yeah. You're on top of that,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, maybe at the, what is this, maybe the June meeting, you might be able to come back and give a brief report on both of those issues.
Yes.
To satisfy,
And as I said, Bob Whitnauer, the town manager, administrator, would be more than happy to talk with you about concerns, issues, things like that, and the materials they have to date. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, updates, what's going on with the Pound Avenue parking agreement?
So unless Pandavion makes another modification request, there's no amendment that will be made. They need the lease agreement for the 12 parking spaces or risk coming out of compliance with local or state requirements as advised by the town of Barnstable licensing director. So if we were to grant an amendment, not that it's our purview to impose what they can and cannot do per city ordinances and things like that, they would possibly be at risk of losing their license. They came to us to enter into a lease agreement so that they could get the license granted to them with those 12 parking spaces.
Mr. Chairman, where do we stand with the renewal of their lease?
The renewals I'll be summarizing and compiling for messaging and updating the entire commission within the next 2 weeks. It's been a heavy lift, I'll just say that, with going back and forth with the attorneys on various leases and also ascertaining, like JetBlue, they were unresponsive until last week, and I finally was able to get a hold of the contact and forward them the lease for their review. TSA Vector LLC, they've been very responsive, and now I'm just waiting on the June 3rd to pass those amongst to the commission, and other leases also. They're all in the works.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on the Pond Avenue. The issue is the 12 parking spaces,
Yes.
and they're looking for an amendment to the lease?
Yes, what they wanted to do is pay as you go. So if if they had overflow and the customer wanted to use parking, then they would come into the parking lot and just pay us that way. But we don't receive any parking revenue until it's really summertime from our parking lot administrator, Republic. So right now, we're getting approximately $6,000 a month, if I remember right, and we'd go to 0. Yeah, I don't think it's in the best interest of either party for an amendment at this time, and their lease expires next summer.
But they're leasing, they want to lease, I'm still a little confused. They want 12 parking spaces.
They have them.
They have?
Yes.
So why don't we, what's the issue with just?
They want to-
They want to basically do it,
Do away with the lease.
and not have 12 parking spaces.
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty simple. Then they won't have a license.
Possibly.
Okay. I can't speak to the licensing board, but.
Is there a decision?
So you're going to negotiate with them to just lease the 12 parking spaces as has been in the past?
The licensing board has sent an email to their attorney saying that they are in risk of non-compliance.
Okay,
And that was on May 9th, and they haven't responded.
okay. We'll wait and see. Project updates, how are we with the hard stands for the terminal approach? Are we still looking at concrete pads or steel pads, or what are we doing?
Yes, so the hard stands was read into the town council meeting on May 15th, forwarded for the June 5th for the appropriation. And talking to finance, they don't think there's an issue financially, they just think that there might be some objections from people that would rather not see the increase of aircraft, especially large aircraft at the airport. But if we don't move forward with the hard stands, we face increased liability that the structures will not hold. The existing pavement's only 4 inches, and there's been some deterioration over the last few years, especially with the larger aircraft. And if one of the aircraft were to be damaged or somebody hurt,
So that's a council meeting coming up June 5.
yes,
So the council votes it, hopefully,
yes.
in the affirmative. Then how long to create the hard stands, figuring those planes coming in June 19th is 14 days
It's
enough?
gonna miss this season. We won't be able to start installation till early fall.
So what happens this summer?
This
And the
summer,
asphalt is
the
softer.
integrity should be enough so that we're okay. There hasn't been that much deterioration, I've been told, but if we're overly concerned about it, we could do steel plating or some other type form of reinforcement.
And the recommendation for the hard stands as being a necessity is coming from whom and where?
The necessity from engineers that have analyzed the pavement.
Town engineers or our engineers?
I believe it was ASG.
HG.
I have a question.
Sure.
Does the area that's having the hardscaping put on it, as I understood, there had been a little bit of testing done to see if there's PFAS or anything that's under it or having any implications for any of the remediation or treatment going on. Is that clear now that it's not, or is it still stuff that you had to deal with or look at?
There no contaminants have been found with the testing that went on in all the hard stand areas 1 through 4. So it's clean, that's the way the project was bid, that there were no contaminants.
Okay, so there's no flow or anything that's gonna be bypassing around it or anything?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good point. Any other questions on that? Okay, the HVAC project bids, how are we doing with that?
They appear to be in line with the estimate, the revised estimates, and procurement is working with the project architect to vet the bidders and vet the prices, and will be, once we have confirmation that the bids are all good and accepted, we will begin the process of updating the grant applications with the updated prices.
Any questions regarding the HVAC from anybody? Okay, item number 11 are announcements from the commissioners. Anybody have a comment they would like to make? I do. I just wanted to publicly commend Mike as the acting manager for really wearing 3 hats, not only as the manager, but as the assistant manager and the project manager. I mean, the plate is full. Suzanne, I want to thank you too for your input and support of what's been ongoing, because, I mean, we are straight out here at the airport. And so I know that, you know, you're still the new guy on the street here, and you've learned a lot in a very short period of time with all of your airport experience. This place is unique in its own way. And so I commend you for stepping up to the plate, keeping us all informed with the reports, following up on the labor relations with our folks here at the airport, coupled with just overall mood and sentiment, I think, of what's happening right now is all very positive. So I wanted to publicly commend you and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Does not go unnoticed. Okay, any other issues, concerns, questions from anybody on the commission? Suzanne?
Just real quick, our cafe will be opening June 2nd,
June 2nd.
and on June 5th, they will be having a ribbon cutting and business after hours with the Hyannis Chamber. So we just wanted to invite all of you if you'd like to attend.
June 5th is the Hyannis Chamber?
Yes.
Great, thank you. I just have one other final comment, just thinking, in terms of the tent, if it's an afternoon, besides vending machines, could there be a portable bar out there if somebody wanted to have a cola or a drink or whatever? Because they're outside of TSA, is that feasible? Could we ask Island Cafe to look into that?
We
Is that a
could look
doable
into
kind of
it.
thing?
It's, as you know, probably it's not unusual to have something post-security like that.
Yeah. Okay, let's look into that. I want to get more than a ball of water out of the machine. Okay, any other issues, concerns, questions? Not hearing any. A terrific meeting. I think we set an all-time record. It is 4:50, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Not being opposed. This meeting is adjourned, and anybody who would like to take a look at the tent, we'll follow you, Michael.